Farid Zakaria has been examining where we are in this country, the separation that's been occurring, the polarization. And in my part, the polarization is not caused by those good conservatives in the room right now. I know some of you get upset when I look at a Mike Cisak or a Lee Grant, or I look at who else is a conservative here, Smith, or I look at John Smith, or I look at I think I had some more conservatives in here, Eric Hayes, and like, why do you give them a break? It's not about giving them a break. It's about your sources of information and who you trust and who you believe, right? And the one thing that I do understand is who they do, right? So I am not going to, I live this stuff in not only here, but in board board meetings, etc., how this stuff works. And they're good. Those guys who polarize us, they're good. They know what they're doing. We reward them. We reward them by really attacking or those and so forth. We have to embrace these guys. Not, if they slap you, slap them back. If they punch them back. But at the same time, let's go ahead and understand what engagement is all about. But Farid Zakaria had a piece here that I want you guys to listen to because it's very important, and I think it's something we can learn a lot from. Check it out.
As the prospect of Roe versus Wade being overturned looms large and America braces for another round of culture wars, I've been puzzling about why clashes over values seem to be more intense in the United States than elsewhere, and why the competing camps seem more divided than before. One key to this might be found in a 2020 Pew survey showing that on many cultural issues, the American political divide was the widest among rich countries surveyed. Asked whether the country would be better off in the future if it sticks to its traditions and ways of life, 65% of Americans on the right said yes, versus just 6% on the left, a 59-point gap. That compares with a 19-point gap in tradition-bound France. Asked whether being Christian was a crucial aspect of being a citizen of the country, the gap in America was 23 points compared to just 7 points in the UK. These attitudes are fleshed out further in a 2018 Pew survey, which asked people in several rich countries whether religion should play a larger role in their societies. In America, 71% of people who identified as conservative said yes, while just 29% of liberals agreed. That difference, 42 percentage points, was off the charts compared to the other countries. The gap was 17 points larger than those in the next highest countries analyzed, Canada and Poland, and roughly 4 times the gap between right and left in Sweden and Germany. In the UK, 35% of conservatives wanted religion to play a larger role in their country versus 28% of liberals, a mere 7-point gap. Many of the forces that seem to be at work, globalization, technological change, immigration, are happening in other Western societies as well. In fact, if you use the size of trade in a country's economy as a measure, America is less globalized than many European countries. It's not even special when it comes to immigration. Canada and Sweden have a larger share of foreign-born people in their societies than does the United States. And of course, technology is at work everywhere. In his last book, Religion's Sudden Decline, the distinguished social scientist Ronald Inglehart offered an answer. Inglehart pointed out that the most striking cultural shift of our times is the decline in religiosity in most countries. When Inglehart and his colleague Pippa Norris analyzed survey data on attitudes toward religion from 1981 to 2007, they found that most of the countries studied had become more religious. But between 2007 and 2020, the overwhelming majority became less religious. The standout in the recent studies is the US of A. For a long time, America was the outlier in showing that rich, advanced countries can still be religious. In recent years, though, it has been reversing course to dramatic effect. Since 2007, the US has been secularizing more rapidly than any other country for which we have data, notes Inglehart. Adding, by one widely recognized criterion, it now ranks as the 12th least religious country in the world. Engelhardt explains that this process of secularization has many causes, mostly relating to the decline of group norms, of mechanisms of control, and the rise of individualism. But here's the interesting part. As this broad shift is taking place in the US, it is coinciding with increased polarization. So the picture that emerges is of a country that is rapidly secularizing, but at the same time seeing a strong backlash to that process. Big changes are leading to big reactions. You cannot really understand America anymore by looking at averages. It has become two countries. One is urban, more educated, multiracial, secular, and largely left of center. The other is rural, less educated, religious, white, and largely right of center. Engelhardt and the scholar Christian Welzel have a famous cultural map that plots countries according to their responses to questions about values. But if one were to divide America into two countries, one red and one blue, I suspect that you would see that blue America would fit comfortably with Northern European Protestant countries, while red America's cultural values would move it closer to Nigeria and Saudi Arabia.
Think about that. Nigeria or South America, or rather, Nigeria or Saudi Arabia is what red country is starting to look like. And this is Farid Zakaria. This is some bleeding heart lefty. This is a guy that's right down the middle, that really sees what's happening in America. He's seen how the religiosity portion of America, what they're doing to their pew, hurting them. They're seeing that, you know, if you take a look at what's occurring to those areas, those are the areas that that there's less education because their governors, their politicians are so evil that they don't want their people educated. There are the ones that are there making sure that their people don't get the health care, because if they get or policies that provide health care, because that means they are going to be smarter. And the last thing they want is somebody smart that is going to run the risk of changing the way things have always operated. We have to understand how these things work, folks. And Farid Zakaria, again, he is not a bleeding heart liberal, and that he points out that reality that many of us on the left have been talking about. Just give that kind of a credence to what it's all about. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.